The gear stick is not for the faint-hearted. What's going on, guys? We're here working on the Fiesta again today. Ignore the fact that it's looking a little rough from the front. It's got no grille and the bumper's hanging off. We'll get to that shortly. But that's not the purpose of today's video. So what we're doing today is addressing that stiff gear change that you saw briefly in, well, the walk around video I did, and also when we were messing about with the reverse lights in the last video. So what it is, basically, switch hands. So the gear change, can you see it? The gear change in this is, it's so stiff. Oh, okay, it doesn't even go in third at the minute. But yeah, it's a real battle to try and get this thing in gear. So there's a pretty common fix flying around on like the forums, Facebook pages, and there's other YouTube videos on it. So this isn't going to be like a how-to. It's just, you know, my experience with trying to get that done. And they seem to reckon it's to do with the, I think it's like the selector fork or something like that. It's pretty easy to access. What it is, there's a nylon bushing in there. So this might not be the cause of the problem I'm having. It might be something else. I hope it's not anything to do with the gearbox or linkage or whatever.
I hope it's not anything to do with the gearbox or linkage or whatever.
So I don't know if that's going to be the issue and if what I'm going to try today is going to fix it, but I'm going to give it a go. Basically, this nylon bushing gets really tight. You pop the selector fork off and you have to drill the bushing out to, I believe, 12mm, and then grease it up, pop it back on, and it looks pretty simple from what I've seen. So I'm going to get the car up on the ramps that I showed you in the last video that I made, and then we'll pull that selector fork off. I'll show you whereabouts it is and how we're going to get that off, and then hopefully if we can just drill that out a bit and pop it back on, should solve our issue. Okay, so we've got the car up in the air, so we're going to jump underneath and so we can find this piece of the gear selector to get off, so we can, well, drill it out, I think is what they said we've got to do. So jumping under here, it's just a case of, I'm just going to spin the camera around actually, it's a case of removing this cover here. We're just literally right under the front passenger side corner. There's some tabs around there which you just loosen off. Right, so what it is, I believe it's this bushing in here. I think you have to take a couple of these selector thingies off. 4 8mm bolts holding this cover here on, which you've got to take off. So there's one there, there's one, try with, oh there it is, there's one there, and then there's one, I haven't even seen this one for myself, there's one up there, particularly big, but they felt like the longest bolts in history. You turn these apparently, and then that comes out of there. Snap that off. I know that pops off there. I don't know how you get it off. Okay, so pop that one off as well. I had to get a little bit of a, well, I say little, get a bit of a pry bar behind it just to ease it off. There's like a rubber bushing on it, so it's kind of firm on there. I'm struggling to get this piece here off. So this one, if you can see, this one, like, as you twist it, kind of like unlocks. That little orange piece moves up and down. I think twisting it down is what unlocked it. No, it's firmly f***ing held in there. It should just slide out. Yeah, does it? Oh, hang on. There we go. Oh, right. So this cover now should come off. There we go. And then it's this piece here we've got to get off. Now there's a little C-clip thing here. I'm just going to go and run and grab a screwdriver so we can pop that off. Okay, so just got a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to try and... So bad at holding the camera and looking at what I'm doing, and so I'm just going to pop that on there for now. I'll clean that up a bit before I put it back on. Now apparently this is a pig to get off. That's why you're noticing the stick gear change. So I've got a pry bar here. I don't think there is another little pin going in there, but I'm guessing that'll just come off when we pry this off. I feel the whole gearbox moving when I do that. I'm not sure what the best way of getting this off is. Move it to the side, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so I've managed to loosen it and get it out a bit of the way, but what I noticed is none of the videos I've watched actually show you how to get it off. So all I did, I tried a pry bar first of all, just like up in behind there, and tried the other side, but it wasn't moving at all. And what I watched, I watched Jay Mono's video, and all he said was he used a claw hammer. He didn't say where, but what I found is to get it in behind. I mean, obviously I can get it in further now because it's part of the way out, but I just sort of wedged it up against there, leaving it up against like up in there somewhere, and I just kind of give it a yank out like that. One thing you have got to watch is this little, there's like a little square piece of plastic behind this boot which comes out of there, and the boot kind of sits around that, so that's got to come off. But then yeah, I found just a claw hammer, wiggled that off. It was really tight to come off. Like, it wasn't easy to get off at all. Like, I couldn't have done it with one hand, and I couldn't have done it with the camera in the way. But that's just a way of actually getting that off, if you know where to stick the tools. And like I said, I used like a claw hammer rather than a pry bar. Seemed to be the best option, like Jay Mono said. So I believe you drill this bushing here out a little bit. 12mm I think it's supposed to go to. Okay, so in typical fashion, didn't have the drill that I needed, had to go out and buy one. I swear I literally had every other size in the world apart from a 12mm. Had a massive set with loads in, but didn't have a 12mm. Shock. So I'm in a bad mood again. I'll just hit it with some brake cleaner for now. Haven't really got much else, so. Yeah, it's pretty nasty in there. It's gonna be tight, you know. Only just. So yeah, it's just a case of drilling that out. Because yeah, it doesn't quite. So I mean, I've not really had to do too much. Not really had to do too much to that to actually get the drill bit to go through it, but it wouldn't go through to start with, and now it pretty much goes through nice and easily. Like, from everything I've seen online and what everyone says, like, obviously you still want it to be a tight fit. You just don't want it to be as tight as it was, because it just doesn't move basically. So I'm just giving that a bit of a clean out. It's not really, it's just a hole straight through. Right, so I suppose we'll go and fit that back on the car and see if it's worked. A little bit of general purpose grease on there. Put some in there as well. get that grease all the way through. So let's try get this back on. Okay. Just try and maneuver that while we press this back on. Right, there we go, that's gone in. That boot's over there now as well, I think that's happy. Hopefully that'll just seat back on there. Yeah, that feels like it clicked in. Right. I think that's sat back where it wants to be. Now we've got to reattach these. Ooh, I don't know what that was falling off. So it should just be a case of okay, so one thing I found is that after you've tightened all the bolts on this cover, you can't click this back in, it just doesn't go. So I had to loosen 3 of them. Right, there we go. That's all back on, so just time to tighten up that cover. Okay, that's that all nicely back on there. These are all on. Happy, I think. And then, what's next? Oh, this cover. It's got to go back on. Okay. So, let's find out whether the gear change is any better. Oh, parts of the Honda. Right. Oh wow. It is mad how much of a difference that makes. Like, that is crazy. I did not expect that. Let's get this down off the ramps and see what it's actually like to drive. I just can't believe how much better that is. Oh, it's just so much better. Fair dues, I didn't expect that. Well, there we have it. That about wraps it up for that. The gear change is now pretty damn good. It's so much smoother, so much easier to put in gear. I'm glad that fixed it because, like I said, like I was saying before at the start of the video, I've seen a lot of things online that say it's when it gets warm that you start to notice it. So I was a bit shocked really that it worked, considering I was getting it like all the time. Maybe mine was just really bad, and I don't know. Maybe the previous owner just dealt with it and drove it. Maybe they had a massive left arm from all those gear changes, I don't know. But that seems to have fixed it, so happy days. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.